Before we get to the video clip of AOC discussing the genocide in Gaza, let's go over a general overview of the positions of progressives when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Many progressive politicians have been vocal critics of the policies of the Israeli government, particularly regarding its treatment of Palestinians in the occupied territories, settlement expansion, and military actions in Gaza. They often call for a more balanced approach to the conflict, emphasizing the need for Palestinian rights and self-determination alongside Israel's security. Progressive politicians tend to align with human rights organizations and international bodies in advocating for the rights of Palestinians, including their right to self-determination, the end of the Israeli occupation, and the right of return for Palestinian refugees. Some progressive politicians have used language, including terms like genocide or ethnic cleansing, to describe the situation in the occupied territories, particularly during periods of intense violence or conflict. Yes, and it seems this sentiment is growing with the actions of the Israelis in this current situation. Now off to this wonderful clip of AOC, and following some other points progressive politicians make.
Mr. Speaker, I know a man, a decent man, who said that preventing genocide is an achievable goal. A goal that requires a level of government organization and engagement that matches in its intensity the brutality and efficiency required to carry out mass killing. Too often, these efforts have come too late, after the best and least costly opportunities to prevent them have been missed. The man that said that was then Vice President and now President Joseph Biden. And he was right. Mr. Speaker, I rise to say that such a time is now. As we speak, in this moment, 1.1 million innocents in Gaza are at famine's door. A famine that is being intentionally precipitated through the blocking of food and global humanitarian assistance by leaders in the Israeli government. This is a mass starvation of people, engineered and orchestrated, following the killing of another 30,000, 70% of whom were women and children killed. There is hardly a single hospital left. And this was all accomplished, much of this accomplished, with U.S. resources and weapons. If you want to know what an unfolding genocide looks like, open your eyes. It looks like the forced famine of 1.1 million innocents. It looks like thousands of children eating grass as their bodies consume themselves while trucks of food are slowed and halted just miles away. It looks like good and decent people who do nothing, or too little, too late. It is against United States law to provide weapons to forces who block United States humanitarian assistance. And that is exactly what is happening right now. So much so that the president himself stated during the State of the Union that the United States must and will be building its own port to let aid through. It will be too late. The time is now to force compliance with U.S. law and the standards of humanity, and fulfill our obligations to the American people to suspend the transfer of U.S. weapons to the Israeli government in order to stop and prevent further atrocity. Honoring our alliances does not mean facilitating mass killing. We cannot hide from our responsibility any longer. Blocking assistance from one's closest allies to starve 1 million people is not unintentional. We have a responsibility to prove the value of global democracy, enshrined in the upholding of civil society, rule of law, and commitment to human and civil rights. This is not just about Israel or Gaza. This is about us. The world will never be the same. and we will never be the same. And we must write our story in this moment of what it means and who we are as Americans. And our story must be not that we were good men who did nothing, but that we were a committed democracy that did something. And we must prove that now. With that, I yield back. Thank you.
Progressive politicians have called for a re-evaluation of U.S. policy towards Israel, including the allocation of military aid, diplomatic support, and efforts to advance a peaceful resolution to the conflict. They often advocate for conditioning aid to Israel on adherence to human rights standards and a commitment to a two-state solution. It's important to note that within progressive circles, there are diverse perspectives on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While some advocate for a more critical stance towards Israel, others may emphasize the need for dialogue, diplomacy, and mutual recognition to achieve a just and lasting peace. Well, I hope you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please, check out and subscribe to my other channel Concise Chomsky, a link is on the homepage. Now, take care and bye-bye.